We are constantly strategizing and planning and moving into areas that don't even have the semblance of an organized workforce. We want to impact people's thinking on the way this dynamic plays out.
Leonard Riley has been a union member for the better part of 50 years. He serves as a trustee of the International Longshore Association, Local 1422, and he is on the Southern Workers Assembly Coordinating Committee. Brother, thank you for taking the time to us. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us this morning. I appreciate it.
Well, I definitely welcome the opportunity, and thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Really excited to talk about the Southern Workers Assembly. Give us a summary of what is the Southern Workers Assembly? What are y'all trying to do with that organization, and who are members of the Southern Workers Assembly?
Well, the Southern Workers Assembly was one of the best things that evolved since the union movement itself, in my opinion. We have this largest South that's not been organized nearly enough. And we are a group of trade unionists, everyday working people coming together, trying to find some order in which they proceed in their career, trying to find some promise at the end of a hard day's work or hard career's work, to have a decent retirement. These benefits mean the world and all. Work and earn enough wages to take care of your family and to educate them and everything else they need. And when you retire from that job, you should have a decent benefit. And you mentioned that we have a deficit between us and the West Coast, but the Southern Workers Assembly is formed to enhance that kind of organization, if you would, and purpose of our labor to receive those things. And, we got union workers, we got association, we got workers, period. And all the voices are valuable in this assembly to help us do better as workers. So it's been a very rewarding to see workers coming together, even where no unions exist, to have a conversation with management. And for them to have a voice is very important. They can sit down and have conversation. And a lot of places it's still not possible. So we have to plan strategically how to make that available. But in some of the places, look at North Carolina, fiercely anti-union state. They don't give much of an opportunity for voice from the workers. But now, in the city of Charlotte, and sanitation workers and bus drivers and public bus drivers and all of these people now have voices at work. And they maybe not as formal as we would like it to get, but they have voices. They've fought for and received wage increases, benefits increases. But we have our eyes on our largest South. Management, they're moving to the South in rapid pace. And they're moving there to take advantage of savings they see. Because the people are less organized. Our mission is just the opposite of that. Help to organize people so they can demand a decent living. This is not a third world country. This country leads the world in so many areas, but we refuse to lead them in the way we treat workers. So the Southern Workers Assembly basically is a collaborative seeking to improve that dynamic. Have workers sit down and have a conversation about who's representing them. The company has lawyers, board of trustees, and you could go down a list of representatives for the company. But who represents the worker? When workers get injured to the point that they can no longer work, who helps take care of them? So all these, that's that's the kind of organization we see ourselves in. They sum it up and say, organize the South. Absolutely, but there's so much to do. In my hometown, Charleston, South Carolina, we see ourselves, the ILA in Charleston, South Carolina, we see ourselves as the upper echelon of workers because we have the right to sit down and bargain. We have the right to discuss safety on the job, and all of this. Is the lack of that across the South is still astounding, and we cannot settle for that. We, as workers, have to find a way to talk to one another, a forum that they can come and express a concern, and then we can evolve together as a workplace, a giant workplace in the South that has improving benefits, such as the management improves its profit margin. So we are, it's not a loose gathering, but we welcome all workers. We are a place where you can have a voice. You can talk about your discontents. You can talk about your dream for the future of your job and everything. So that's what we are. And we are constantly strategizing and planning and moving into areas that don't even have the semblance of an organized workforce. We want to impact people's thinking on the way this dynamic plays out.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. And the Southern Workers Assembly has local bodies in several different cities across the South. So you can find them at southernworker.org is the website. What if you had one success story that you would want to highlight from the work that the Southern Workers Assembly has been doing over the years? What would that be? What's the one that you're most proud of, you feel like?
Well, I am extremely proud of the work that's being done in North Carolina, where they've come from no semblance of worker representation to where they are presently. And the capacity of those workers, to reach other places in North Carolina that don't have them and across the South. So that's been that's been a model of what the Southern Workers Assembly needs to be doing as we take this South Carolina and Georgia and Alabama. I mean, we've been a part of meetings all across the South now, and it's only going to increase. Our numbers are growing, our capacity to do what we do is still growing, but I am excited just as when I started this movement that we are making a difference. Even going north into Virginia, we have some places that now they're winning victories at city hall at council meetings, and the idea of workers asserting themselves in a quest for a better way of life, better work conditions and better retirement, better to spend time with your family, whom you work for. If we don't spend time with our families, the streets are going to raise them. Then you got more problems. So you have to be able to work and have conditions where you can spend some time to go home and tell your children, this is why daddy's working, and to give you a shot at a brighter future. And, we're not being greedy by no stretch of the imagination. It's justice, economic justice.
And so, Brother Leonard, as we are rounding out, I wanted to talk to you about this recent program that I've seen from the Southern Workers Assembly about encouraging people to, get a job in a strategic industry, and what looks like with what looks like support from the Southern Workers Assembly to organize a union. Talk to us about that program and the support that the Southern Workers Assembly will be giving to these workers.
Well, we definitely sort of big on this. It's new to the program of the Southern Workers Assembly, but we're very hopeful that it will be effective. We want to start preparing workers before they even enter the workspace, adjust their expectation, what they're going to meet when they go into a workplace, and what they can actually do to help transform that workplace into a better situation for everyone. Yeah, we talked about it. It's called salting. Management have a very deliberate, a very tested way of introducing themselves to the community. And most of the time they get support from the community just to bring the business there. So we want to reach workers that's contemplating going into the workplace, and we want to adjust their expectation. What's possible? What kind of representation that workers deserve in their workplace? We want to talk about safety, of course. We want to talk about earnings, and we want to talk about retirement. The possibility is there upward mobility in some of these situations. We want the workplace to be just the example of people working hard to produce and being the beneficiary of some of that production. So, yeah, we want people adjust their expectation, ask for certain things, know that you don't have to be denied safety to be effective in the workplace. We can create a safer workplace. Unfortunately, as the Port of Charleston grew, I've seen more death than I would like to in this workplace. And this is probably more extreme than a lot of workplaces, but it drove us to a faster pace to correct those safety issues, to correct the time that people can work on a job safely instead of working 24 hours if needed. We have replacement workers to relieve that, because if you work exhausted, you're more likely to make errors. Some of them can be fatal errors. So they're important barriers we have to navigate in the workplace. We want to be productive. We want to produce so that they'll be willing to pay, and we can't rely on that all the time, because the more money they make, the more money they want to make. But we got to acknowledge the need to pay workers part of that benefit to keep them in a good place with an evolving community. If the worker makes robots don't pay taxes. I got to get that in. Robots don't pay taxes. Public service that we depend on by taxpayers, all of that, it has to be figured in the formula. If they pay you more, you pay more taxes, you get better schools, you get better hospital, everything you need, anything that public taxes pay for, we get those things. And the community as a whole, it starts to evolve on a different plane. Everybody gets the benefit from the hard work that's done to make management's profit. So, yeah, I needed to get that in, because if you go into Walmart and all these other grocery stores, they're encouraging you to go to these machines and eliminating workers. So I never go to one unless pushed to go to one. And if I did go to one, I'm going to need some assistance operating it. So we're going to keep people working.
All right. All right.
That's what.
Leonard Riley, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. You guys doing a great job. Keep it up. Power to the people.
All right, brother. It's great having you on. Leonard Riley, union member for the better part of 50 years, trustee for the International Longshoremen's Association, Local 1422, and a member of the Southern Workers Assembly's Coordinating Committee.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.